and it's the FM CO 7355-73 base stabilization and seal coat surface on 53. And the description is on 265th Street, Teague Avenue, and 280th Street, from Sumac Avenue to Taylor County line, 8.6 miles. Page County FFC map dated December 2014 shows entire route as major collector. It's 6.9 miles. Bituminous seal coat. Name change from base stabilization and HMA surface on 53 to base stabilization and seal coat surface on J53. Paving points was changed, work codes was changed. The project number changed from STBS CO 73-150 5E 73 to FM CO 73 55-73. 2026 FA STPG funding of 1,960,000 was changed to 2026 FM funding of 2,236,000. 2026 FM funding of 490,000 was removed. So the total is 2,236,000. So could I have a motion to approve the change requested by our county engineer?
I'll make a motion that we approve the change to resolution 39-2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. And I have signed that, Kristen. Okay. All right, we'll move on to Jeff Curtis from the Samuels Group.
Good afternoon. How is everybody doing today?
Good.
Good. I would like to say what JD usually says, but I'm not quite used to all the snow yet, so I don't think it's a good time right now. So we'll get into the project. I apologize for not getting the weekly update out. I was out of town and been playing catch up today or yesterday and today, but I will get that out to you first thing in the morning and then get back on schedule with you folks. Of course, last week was a short work week. We only worked 3 days out there. On site, we had, of course, the O'Neill team. They continue to work. They got the underground going to the generator pad in and backfilled, getting ready to start forming up that generator pad. We'll definitely take a look at the soils and stuff to make sure we're still good and we're not frozen, and have all the necessary testing done on that. As we get into the building, they continue with their gear sets inside the electrical room on the housekeeping pads that have been poured, which is going really well. Got a lot of the main distributions mounted, ready to go. The ATS for the generator is getting put into position. And they also had another large delivery of the required conduit for above ground or on the ceiling. And if you happen to look at some of the daily logs, you'll see some of the conduit, of course, has been colored red. And of course, that makes exactly, it's critical power. So that's the reason why that's being done. So all that work is continuing to move forward with them. They also are working directly with the masons, continuing with their work there. Masons were not on site yesterday because of roads, but they're back on site today and will be there through the end of the week. So they continue to move forward. They're just about complete in the booking and main entry area, getting ready to head into the rest of the jail area, which will be a lot of the shower rooms that we have there and a couple more of what we call the demising walls. And the reason why we're pushing them quite hard is we have confirmed scheduled deliveries of the cell metal wall panels and the detention ceilings. That is set for December 16th. Have an email out to WDSI confirming they'll mobilize on site and needed durations to get those panels installed. That way we'll move into Cunningham. The plumbers can, once those panels are installed, start working on the rough ends going into the combi units, we call them, for the toilets, the wash sinks and stuff like that. Continue moving forward that, and then also the ductwork that's above the security ceilings, making sure those tie-ins are ready to go. So the plan will be to kind of start working in the mid portion of the jail. We'll call it the far east side on the get my directions correct here, on the south portion of that, and we'll work back in a clockwise direction. That way they can have the materials loaded into the building. And then as they start making their way back out to the west side, of course, then they're able to keep access and then keep moving forward with that. temporary heat is up and going. We're maintaining 50 degrees in the buildings where we have our thermostats set at. We did have one heater that did go down today. Chris Falk has transitioned into the superintendent. I'm not sure if you folks know Chris. He was originally the facility manager out at the correctional facility. He's come to work for Samuel's group. He's been here a little over a year now. He lives just outside of Bedford, so that'll be nice that he can maintain, make sure we have boots on the ground there. So he's back on site, getting that unit back up and going. We do realize we have some cold weather coming, so we want to make sure we have a total of 4 heaters on site if we need to get those fired up and ready to go. But the plan is for the Masons to continue moving forward and getting that work done and keep transitioning in. Tomorrow will be another big day. We have the generator that's going to be arriving on site to the tune of about 9,900 pounds of generator. We are currently going to offload that directly by our trailers, which are, of course, on the south portion of the job site. Reason being is we have to get the fuel tank in. It's what we call a ballistic fuel tank, believe it or not. This being in a seismic area, the fuel tank on that, let alone being a double walled, we also had to be beefed up for some impact resistance with the risk category 4 build. So believe it or not, that's kind of a little bit different, but that's due to be here mid part of January. So once that's in, we'll get that set and then set the generator in position. In the meantime, like I said, all the underground work is ready to go. So once that's ready to go, they'll finish pulling the conductors in and getting that fired up when we're ready. What else can I tell you?
Did Chris take Brian's place?
Excuse me?
Does Chris take Brian's place?
Yes, I need to get Brian back closer to home. Chris has been involved in the project from the get-go. So again, I feel better with, especially with the winter months, with it being cold, having somebody closer to the job site, that way we're ready to go. So Tony is aware of this. Tony knows Chris also. Chris's background, of course, besides being the facility manager out there, correctional facility, he had a background in HVAC and everything also. So he's very construction oriented like Brian was. So he's been involved in the background. If folks have any concerns with that or.
Just questioning who is leaving or what? Yeah.
Yep. Of course, Brian is seasoned like the rest of us, and some of the travel time, and we'll leave it at that comment for now. So we'll be good there. But he definitely did a great job, and he's in constant communication. Matter of fact, I talked to Brian 3 different times today, so we're good there. So again, the generator will be offloaded, set on that. I know Tony's been out on site. The EIN network has been brought into the building, so we're good there. But the only thing that's going to be outstanding that you'll see some communication coming through is getting the natural gas contract in your guys' court to take a look at it as far as getting it from the South 12th Street over to the building. We do have funds allocated in our budget to cover that. But again, with the county being the owner, somebody from the county will have to sign off on that. Lonnie Stevens will be the contact person. So I will be setting up, getting the necessary information that we need and get that process finalized and get that ready to find in coming into the building. From there, again, we continue to move forward. Everything's trending and tracking accordingly. It'd be nice to start getting those metal wall panels in for the cells and continue that process. Any questions for me?
I waved at somebody in the truck today that I thought was Brian, so it must have been Chris.
What time of day would it have been?
It was this morning.
Definitely would have been Chris.
Yeah.
So then he's actually back out on site right now, just making sure everything's ready to go. We keep heating that building. And currently right now we're monitoring our burn rate, we call that, to make sure we get an idea of how much LP we're going to be burning. And if we have this cold snap, so we can make sure we keep those ready to go. We did end up getting the LP from Agriland. So they're right there in town. If we have an emergency situation, we're good to go.
Hey,
Good.
any questions? No. We appreciate that, Jeff.
Yep.
Okay,
Sounds like things are moving. Charles is here and he was saying it's amazing the changes that are taking place. And so, yeah. Every time I see pictures, it's like, wow, another wall. So,
Yep.
yeah.
plan is for the masons to be done right before Christmas. And once that's done, then it's some more detention frames that'll be coming in to finish out the rest of the day rooms. And then everything really starts going, really moving along really fast and good there. I can't thank the trade partners on hand right now. They've been really great to work with. Definitely are very cognizant of what the work that they're doing. So they're really good with that. We do have a inspection or a visit. We'll have one of the folks from the design team on the plumbing end being on site on Friday. So again, just making sure they're happy with everything, make sure we hit all the seismic stuff. Just real good oversight to make sure we're ready to go.
Sounds good. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you very much. Have a good one.
You too now. Bye-bye.
Okay. Okay, Mid-American, you see John's on there.
Hello, hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving.
Yes, you too?
Thank you very much. Yeah, well, the substation transformer had a great Thanksgiving in Kansas City, but fortunately, it is finally making its way to Page County. I am told December 5th, it'll finally be delivered. So
Oh,
after
okay.
all that, it's finally making its way. I think you'd be happy to know that there was a moment in time where we thought some of this restoration work was a lot of it was going to be left to do in the spring of 2026. And it's looking like it'll be mostly just tying up loose ends in the spring of 2026. We're actually maybe, I guess you could say, a little ahead of schedule from what we thought we were on restoration work. So it'll be mostly done by the end of the year. A lot of it's already been completed as of right now. But yeah, so I think that's exciting news that it'll mostly just be minimal in the spring of 2026. But I think that's really the big updates. That transformer, I'm really happy to see it finally get where it belongs.
Hey,
John, I had a question on the since we did get some snow and winter, are the roads that you guys are using or utilizing that I guess haven't been turned back over to the county, are those roads still being maintained by Mid-American, or has all the roads now been turned over back to our county for maintenance purposes?
I have to get the latest. I wish JD was in the room right now. I would ask him what he knows about it because he does a lot of the communication with the guys who take care of the roads when they are in our care. But that said, I think if we haven't turned the road over, I think that it would still be under our maintenance. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. Is there one or two that are looking especially rough or something? Is that why you ask?
Well, I was just wondering because there was some that didn't get plowed, and I didn't know if that was maybe our issue or if that was just that those roads hadn't been turned over. Or I know I did see some communications that weren't in our county but Fremont County, that they were talking about some of their roads around the wind turbines not being plowed and who was still maintaining them. And so I just want clarification on what that process is. And then also, do we go travel the road before you turn it over to us, so that I'm assuming JD goes and looks at the road and says if there's anything that's needed to update or any, bad ruts or anything like that that would need repaired before you turn it back over to us? Is that the process that happens?
To the best of my understanding, yeah, it'd be JD would go out there and look at everything and make sure that it is what we agreed upon. Basically, is it in
Okay.
an appropriate state for us to turn it back over?
Okay.
So yeah, I can now, as far as like snow removal and stuff on those roads, I can ask about that. I'm not actually sure about that, but I
Okay.
can.
Yeah, if you could find out, just ask. And if you could, might ask too, just to see like how many roads have we turned over and how many are still left under your care or under. Yep.
Sure.
If I could get that information, that'd be great. Thank you.
You bet. I'll get that as soon as possible.
sounds good. Okay. Any questions, Brian? Nope. Okay, thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Thank you very much. See ya.
Yes, thank you. Okay, we next have a presentation from West Central. Is somebody on from West Central? Oh. Chat. The chat. Is it? Okay. Hi, Sarah. Do you know who was supposed to come on, Todd?
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at my email. 'Cause,
Okay,
Um, I will get in touch with them and see if they can reschedule.
okay,
Something,
right.
something might have came up.
okay.
Shit.
Let's move on with Sarah with Schneider Geospatial presentation.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for your time.
Sarah?
Judy and I chatted a little bit. I guess was that at fall school, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, yep. So for those of you not familiar, uh, I represent the company that provides the Beacon Property Information Portal for Page County. And so we have been providing that portal since 2009. And I actually was curious just to take a look at the activity that we've had over time. And the growth of that particular site has just been incredibly strong since 2009. The platform usage has increased, I think, more than 50-fold. It's like a 5,000 percentage plus growth in terms of the total requests that are coming in. And there's um, just a significant growth even just this year. So the site's on track for another record year. We have a requests tracking within it along with visits. We kind of think of visits being those folks who are coming to the site versus maybe picking up the telephone and calling for this information or driving down to the courthouse to retrieve this information and so forth. And this year, the site has increased 14% just compared to last year. So I say all this just in terms of the framework of that your residents, the professionals within your county, and your internal staff are relying on Beacon more than ever for things. So strong indicator of that public reliance tool too. Lots of value associated to that. But when Judy and I spoke at fall school, we just talked a little bit about some of your surrounding counties and some of the add-ons that they've been doing within the site. And one, I think in particular, that caught Judy's attention was our property tax distribution module. That is an add-on feature that will show a breakdown in terms of the taxes that are collected in those service types that are receiving that particular, tax and the dollar amount. Visibility, right? Transparency. It's a greater tool in terms of that, but also a picture is worth 1,000 words too. We also provide a pie chart that gets added into either the Beacon report page or a standalone tab too for that to show that breakdown within the taxes. So in our conversations, we can add on that particular module by itself. But we also have been introducing our bundle initiatives. The platform has grown significantly since 2014. And with that, we've been trying to standardize the offerings a little bit more in terms of that refresh of technology. With you guys of being a client since 2009, there's certainly have been a number of enhancements and add-ons that have come that just haven't been deployed across the site too. So it was just an opportunity to kind of talk a little bit. Not only do we have that property tax distribution module that could be added on, but a variety of other things too. Not only that would benefit just the public, but also internal users, especially within the assessor's office too.
And Jason is here, so he's here in the room also, so,
Great.
yeah.
Yep. And Jason and I have had conversations too, kind of on the items that, are more geared just specifically for his office within the bundles. But there's certainly a number of them that can be pushed out to the public that your public would gain access to too.
Okay. So what kind of bundles are there that, in these bundle initiatives, what do they entail?
Yeah, we kind of categorize them into more of a citizen engagement type module, which is within our Beacon bundle, Beacon Basic bundle. And then the next step up is more of our back office type assessor type tools within our Essentials bundle. So a variety of different features that you don't have on today. So like in the basic bundle itself, there's a data extract tool as well as that property tax distribution. The data extract tool would allow individuals or maybe even just an internal, depending upon how the county would like to make this tool available, to download GIS data layers. So you might get requests, hey, can we have a parcel file, that shape file of all the county parcels? Well, this is more of a like a self-service type tool of which citizens could get access to that GIS data. There is a comp report generator. Currently on your site today, a citizen can come to the site and do a comparable search, meaning if my property was 1,500 square feet and had 3 bedrooms and 2 baths, and I wanted to take a look at other properties with that similar characteristics, I could perform that search today on your site. But then the next step up is to be able to provide an output of where the differences within my property, along with these others that I have selected. So it just kind of gives a grid view of, oh, this is different. The assessed value on this house is, $25,000 more than mine, but they also have another bedroom, another bathroom, and so forth. It's just, again, a transparency tool for citizens to be able to get some more insights, maybe, and some insights in terms of where those values perhaps are coming from or the value differences are. There is a tax estimator. Oops, sorry, was there a question
Oh,
on
that's
that?
fine. Go ahead.
Okay. There's a tax estimator that would get turned on to with this basic bundle. The tax estimator allows a citizen to input in if the new assessment value is going to jump up by $25,000. What would that tax implication be on the current levy rates? So again, just another calculator of sorts that the citizen could do. Our document access feature is the ability to tie into PDF documents. We don't, necessarily force you to just do one type of PDF, but you can get access to multiple PDFs. So in my conversation before with Jason, if he wants to put his assessment notices as a PDF on the parcel report, you can. But from a plats of survey, if you're scanning plats of surveys, you can have that. Your corner tie documents where that survey pin is, those could be tied to that. Your tax statements, if you have permits that are associated to a particular parcel, you can include those PDFs. So just a great feature to just provide some additional documentation as it relates to those parcels. And then we have a form capability. Today on the site, you have the ability for a taxpayer, a homeowner, to apply for a homestead tax credit. You would get another form. Some of our counties decide to do an address change form or a family farm tax credit or a military credit. It's just a variety of different forms, and we just give you the ability to choose another form within that package. And there's a couple of other features too for some like bulk printing and some advertising and things like that. But within this, it's more of like a 365-degree view of a particular property, for instance, with all of those tools, but then also some querying and some ability to tie into more information as it relates to those properties. So that's kind of that Beacon Basic bundle.
Okay. Jason, do you have any questions, or you've talked to Sarah enough that or do you want to explain anything else, or? Okay. And then with the basic bundle, then is there another bundle that goes along with it?
Yeah, as mentioned, that next step up is kind of more of that back office assessor type tool. Now, some of these features that are involved in the Essentials package would maybe just be turned on for internal users. We have through one of our acquisitions, it's called a Comper Pro tool. It's something that Jason and I have talked a lot about too, just to show how that tooling can work and help with defending values. There is the ability for an expansion of those forms. So I mentioned you have the homestead tax credit today. You would have 9 more forms that you could pick within the essentials bundle. And then currently on your site, this is just a feature that's turned on internally, of which this expansion could be as well too, but it's called our assessment mapping layers. So it's an ability kind of for us to serve as a GIS creator for the county in terms of these GIS data layers that are automatically populated via the CAMA tax database that the assessor's office, or excuse me, the CAMA database that the assessor's office is manipulating on a daily basis. So a lot of times when they're working in their data, it's very tabular. These assessment mapping layers, again, bring that picture to life for them with that attribute information. So by visibly looking at a map, the assessor could look at, well, gosh, my grades are very consistent in this neighborhood, but there's this color code right here and it's an outlier. Is that an anomaly in my data? Do I need to go back in and clean up my data? Or is that an accurate piece and so forth. So it's just a great visualization tool. And he would get, 6 more of those data layers as part of that too, within the Beacon bundle of the essentials. And there's
So
a data
this,
comparison module. So like from a yearly perspective, what percentage change has occurred on my property from valuation as well as from taxation. So instead of me having to do the math year over year, sometimes the citizens aren't very good with math, and I'm saying that because I'm not very good with math. It would do the math for you, right? So if I think my assessed value went up 62%, but it actually does a calculation and shows it right there. Oh, well, actually, it only increased 2%, and on a tax basis, it didn't even go up last year. So does that help?
yeah, so the back office bundle would be more for the assessor than for the public to use.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. There's some features that could be turned on, but for the most part, yeah, it is definitely assessor back office tool.
Okay, so the bundle that we talked about with all of the bundle basic, what cost is that, Sarah?
It's just an incremental increase of $3,996 on an annual basis.
Okay,
We would have a setup cost involved, and I can kind of, if there's any other changes or any components that, in addition to the basic level, we can kind of hone those out, but there would be a small one-time setup cost. And the nice thing too, we wouldn't assess any of these increases until next July. So like if the board were to decide, hey, let's get these added, we can go ahead and get things moving on a new contract, on an upgraded contract, but not charge until July. And you guys can take advantage of all those added features
Okay.
in the meantime.
okay, and how we can talk to Jason about it, but how we pay for that, whether it's a county thing or we split it or whatever. So, not sure how other counties handle that.
And that 3,996 is just the basic.
Yeah.
That's to
all-
upgrade. Yep.
And then
Upgrade.
if you start adding other bundles, that price changes.
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
but that would, if we add other bundles, that back office for the assessor would be an assessor cost. It wouldn't be a county one. Because that would be something that only Jason would use.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
yeah. So Jason, on the 3996, would the county pay part of that and you pay part of that since we're both using it, or is it county? Okay,
That's, well, on top of what we're paying now.
okay,
So there's different, you can get that.
okay, okay. Well, from what I saw when I was in Des Moines and Sarah showed me, it looked like there was a lot of advantages to not only the county and inner workings, but to the public, the general public, and then the pie chart especially. I know I used to do a pie chart and have it for people, but this would be right on a tax statement. So it would be something that would be right out there.
I do want to clarify, we're not going to adjust your tax statements. We're not involved in the printing of those, but it's just on the module within Beacon. It would be available there.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Do you all have any other questions for Sarah? It just seems like, we're not taking full advantage of, the things that are available. So I know you guys are always working to add more things, which is a good thing.
Is there I guess, is there a possibility of sending us some more information through email or something? Or is there a website that we could go look at?
Yeah,
Some of
I don't know if I have the ability can I share? Oh, I can share. Do you want me? Well, I can, and I'm sure we're running up on time too here. So I'm happy to share some sites with you. Montgomery County, or yeah, Montgomery County, Iowa, upgraded to the basic package. So that's a good one to view, as well as Audubon County. We have a number of others too. That did the basic package, kind of, but more around your area. Those would be
Okay.
a couple of good ones to peek at.
All right.
Yeah, our main page is just beacon-schneidercorp.com.
Oh.
If you are used to going to your own county site, you can always click on the Beacon logo up in the top left-hand corner, which gets you back to the home page. And then you can choose Iowa and then either choose Montgomery or Audubon if you wanted to take a look at those add-on features.
Okay, great.
I was impressed with the things that are out there. So, yeah, everybody can look at it and see what they think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have realized I could have shared my screen a long time ago instead of me just yapping, but sorry about that.
Well, we appreciate that you're
Yes.
willing to share and give us
Yeah, we just appreciate
a
your
rundown
commitment.
of what's
Yeah,
what's
appreciate
out
your
there.
commitment too for this. And again, as those stats show, the site is getting record usage. So it's definitely a great investment from the county.
It's interesting when I'm out, sometimes for coffee, somebody said, who owns this and who owns that? And I have my iPad with me, and so, or even an iPhone, and they go into it and see. And so, yeah, I think Beacon is being used a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
and you bring up
yes.
a good point. You don't need to have an app or anything. It's mobile responsive. So if you're on an iPad, if you're on a tablet, if you're on a cell phone, even when you guys are out in the area, I see some emergency folks there. If you're utilizing it, there's a show my location. When you're out there in the field to be able to use. That's all just turned on today to be able to access. So want to make it as easy as possible to get access to that information. So.
Right. And I've heard a number of people say that they use it and, really appreciate it. So just adding another module to it would be even more for the general public and even the, abstractors and whoever. So, yeah. We have any other questions for Sarah? Nope. Nope.
I'm good.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. Took a while to get it figured out what day, but other than that, we got there. So, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
We
Have a
appreciate
great
it.
rest of the week.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. All right, our next is Kelsey Vetter with Farnsworth about our courthouse roof.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yep.
Yes,
Perfect. Perfect.
okay. Would you like to bring us up to speed a little bit on what's going on with the roof, where we are at this point, things that may need to take place? I
Yeah,
know that Kristen's been talking to you and Troy and I've been in on a little bit of it, and so yeah.
sure. I'll try to give everyone a rundown here. And Judy, if you think I've missed anything in between, please chime in. Same thing for you, Kristen. Um, so as you know, the current roof of the courthouse has hail damage from last summer. So I was contacted to pull together drawings for replacement of the roof. Given the size of the roof, the location, it is a fairly expensive endeavor, and so it will have to go out for public bid per the state of Iowa codes. So with that, we did take a look at the photos from your insurance company, and we've started it on drawings for the replacement of that roof. And it kind of snowballed into the damage that was observed at the clock tower. Um, and through further research, the clock tower was made off-site and then brought in sections and panels and placed on top of the courthouse. And the north side is quite damaged, a lot of dents and areas. And so we did contact the original manufacturer of the clock tower, and we received a preliminary quote for them to reclad the entirety of the clock tower. Some issues that we were considering with this portion of the work is that if you were only to replace or fix the north side, which has the most damage, it's very likely that any work done in that area would not match the rest of the clock tower. Weathering and fading changes colors of metals and colors of everything over time. And so there's concerns that it would be quite different. So we've gone through a lot of those steps and those considerations. We pulled together a preliminary cost estimate for your insurance provider. They noted they needed to take a look at the reserves that were set aside for this project to ensure that we were covered. We also had the clock tower manufacturer come out and do an assessment of the clock tower just to make sure that structurally it was in good shape. So as we're sitting right now, we are moving forward with the rest of the drawings and putting together a schedule for bidding. We're looking at bidding this out to the public the beginning of January, pending, of course, the board's approval and discussions from today. So I do owe that schedule to Kristen and to Judy, and I have that PDF with me today, just to kind of a general outline of what we would expect for timeline in January. But the most recent occurrence that has happened is the further discussion on the clock tower. So the preliminary quote we got for that work was $722,000 just for the recladding of the clock tower. They would come and take down the entire clock tower, ship it to Kentucky, reclad it, bring it back, and put it back in place. And that's a big chunk of change. And I know there's some concerns from both Kristen and Judy about the dollar amount associated with that. So most recent conversations have been to list that as an alternate in the bid documents so that we can at least at a minimum get the roof replaced and see where we land with insurance as far as the clock tower portion is concerned, and see if we accept or reject that portion of the bid. So I think that's the rundown that I have. Anything that I missed in there, Kristen or Judy?
The 722,000 is just the clock tower.
That's just the clock tower.
Yes.
Yes. It's like when we first saw that, it was like, ooh, okay.
Yep.
And also the fact of taking it down and putting it back up again. And the fact that, comments by the general public, by us, as far as what we would actually do. But they did find that it was sturdy, so that it would just be removing the clock tower in portions and taking it, is it 12 trucks? Back to Campbellsville, I think, something like that.
Right.
And then bringing it back, so it's a hefty thing. And that was only held for a little while, so it could go up in price. And that's why we wondered about seeing if there was anyone closer that could do this. However, as I asked Kelsey the other day, even if we got somebody closer, the danger I guess, of trying to do anything with it still on the building. The courthouse itself is 67 feet high. The clock tower is also 67 feet tall. So we have the two that are the same, which I learned when we put it all back together again. So trying to get scaffolding or anything else clear up there could be a major issue. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, it's just, we were trying to get all the preliminary things done and for Kelsey to figure out what was going on before we moved forward or talked about it in here. So that's why we,
And I just wanted to add, when I talked to the insurance company, they pretty much said they would cover it all, but they wanted to see the bids first.
Yeah.
But they
And then-
said if it's damaged, then they will cover it.
And then you're also sending bids out for the other roof of the courthouse roof itself.
we thought if we split it, then if someone closer could do it, then we would have the option
So-
to do that.
Because I
So it would be two different things. Yes.
Not taking it down
Yeah.
and seeing if they could just fix it on site as well.
Yeah.
I figured that might be a cheaper route.
So you're sending bids to, you're wanting bids to one, to remove the clock tower and take it and get it fixed. Another bid to work on the clock tower as is, not taking it apart and trying to get it done. And then also then a separate, and maybe including the rest of the courthouse roof, and then maybe a bid to separate the two and have a bid for just the courthouse roof. If somebody's doing that, or do you want the same people trying to do the clock tower and the courthouse roof, or could you have two?
It would be like two separate bids, right,
Separate bids.
Kelsey?
Not quite, at least
Okay.
not my understanding of it as of right
Okay.
now. So the base bid for the project, so no matter what happens, base bid would be for the roof to be replaced. We know
For
that
the
it's
courthouse, the
for the
courthouse roof.
courthouse. Yes, the
Yeah.
courthouse roof, all of the copper roofing, that would be the base bid. And then
Okay.
we would have an add alternate, which would be to remove and reclad the entirety of the clock tower and then bring it back and put it back in place. And the intent is that a single contract would be put in place for this work to be done. So you'd have a single general contractor who would do both of these items. They could potentially hire a subcontractor to do the roofing and a subcontractor to do the clock tower work. But that way you just have a single point of contact, a single contract. You're not splitting this out and bidding two separate projects for two separate contractors. You're doing it together, and ideally this work would happen in conjunction anyway. If you take off the clock tower, you need to seal up that roof, and if you have two people up there working at the same time, I mean, they may step on each other's toes a little bit. So
Right.
having one person to coordinate all of that as a general contractor would be ideal in my opinion.
And do we know what's the estimated roof portion of the cost for the courthouse roof?
Yes, so the estimate that I provided Kristen and Judy, I gave a range. I gave a total range of 1.4 to 1.5. Now that included the clock tower recladding. If we take that out of there, and if you have a little contingency in there, I think we're probably just over 600,000.
Yeah.
Approximately.
And Kelsey, I can't remember, we checked into just having a new clock tower built. Didn't we? Do you remember how much?
I don't recall seeing any pricing for that. I think that in our discussions with Campbellsville, they essentially just told us that it would be more expensive than recladding your existing one, and so we left it at that and didn't research that any further.
Well, put it on public. So do we have spec bid sheets ready to go? Can we see those?
So the drawings are underway, but the way that we set up the drawings and the way that we set up the specifications is very dependent on how we split this out. So we need to decide if this base bid plus one ad alternate is the route that we're going to go, or if we're going to have a separate second ad alternate to try to replace just the portions of the clock tower that are damaged. So things are underway, but before we get into like the nitty gritty details of laying this out to be bid, some of those decisions need to be made so that we're putting the verbiage in there accurately for the contractors to be able to bid it.
So we could send out a bid just to fix what's damaged on the clock tower and not replacing all of the clock tower.
We could go down the road of listing that as an alternate option. I will say that the more alternates that you add to a bidding situation, it can be a deterrence for some contractors. Just because they first glance at it, they look at it and it feels like a complicated setup. And so that kind of it could turn some people away. Now we certainly can include that, um, and see what happens. A worst case scenario, we end up in a no bid situation.
Insurance doesn't dictate that we have to replace the whole thing. Insurance would allow us, I'm assuming, to just replace the parts of the clock tower that are damaged. Like they're not saying that the damage, you must replace everything that's
Well, the problem
It's up
is
there.
they're wanting to make sure it matches. The insurance company will pay to make it match. So if all of it needs to be done,
Yeah.
that,
Well, it's just aesthetically that we're worried about. And I don't know what the difference would be on just replacing the damage versus the whole thing. If it's still,
It's gonna be all the
It'd be-
coloring that where it's faded over the last 30 years.
okay.
That would be the difference.
I think the other thing to consider with that, now I do know that there are good, great sheet metal workers in the state of Iowa, but someone coming in and replacing work that's been done by another company, there's always a risk of it not matching one for one. There may be some discrepancies. Now, granted, this is, a long ways up in the air, and perhaps it wouldn't be visible, but I think, going the route that we have gone thus far and having Campbellsville or the clock tower manufacturer reclad the entire thing, they did the original work. And if they do all of it will match together as far as all the joints and the riveting that's done. So that's another factor to consider.
So we just need to decide on how we want the bid to go out.
Yeah.
So do we want
If you
just
wanna-
one alternate added to the bid for the courthouse or for the clock tower? Correct? Is that right? Right, Kelsey? We just
I-
need to know how we want those bids, how we want those bids to go out.
Yep. That's definitely part of it. And I think Judy and Kristen wanted to share the costs of this project before we got too much further, just so it wasn't a shock to everybody, once we do get to that bidding stage, because there is a hefty price, especially for the clock tower portion.
Yeah, we just wanted to discuss some of the things and get the basic things before everybody decided. And that took quite a while to do that. So, yeah.
And then I'm assuming then you would receive the bids. Those would go through you as the architect.
So the bids would be, they would be delivered.
Oops, you stopped.
We lost her.
We lost her. Are you there, Kelsey? She's frozen in time. Hmm.
I mean, my biggest thing is just making sure that if we're sure insurance is paying for this and it's not gonna
And
fall
they,
back on, and
yeah.
I don't know how much we are paying Kelsey's services on top of the drafting piece of it.
Yeah.
Is that additional stuff that she's gonna be doing? Are you back?
We lost you.
We lost you, so we didn't hear
Yeah.
anything you said.
Okay, I'm sorry. It just kicked me off out of nowhere. My apologies. Lovely technology. Um, so the bids would be received at the courthouse. They would be sealed, and then we would open them. Um, we could either do it at the board meeting or open them first and then have discussion at the board meeting. It's up to you, but the bid opening would be public, so the contractors can attend that.
Okay.
And from there, we would give you some time to review those bids and um, and then make it a decision at your next board meeting of which one you would propose to send off to your insurance company for approval for the award. And once we get that approval, then we can provide that notice of award to the contractor.
And you asked Todd about the insurance company paying. We have until December of 26 to get it done. According to the insurance company,
Okay.
they will hold it, the money that long, so. So however you want to do the bids, whether you want to do it, in the two.
I think you would do one with the alternate, with as the clock tower being the alternate.
As a
I guess.
recladding.
Yeah, as a recladding,
Mm-hmm.
and then I guess we're not interested in just doing the courthouse roof without doing anything to the clock tower.
Well, with the damage that's been
They
found,
explained to me was, I mean, if there's a,
Does it need to be, I mean, I guess, I don't, without knowing exactly
Well,
how
with it being-
catastrophic it is to the.
right. Well, what they explained to me was with it being in Iowa and with the freezing temperatures that would freeze and expand, eventually it would start chipping.
Chipping.
Cause I asked the same thing.
you want to think about it for a week and discuss it next week.
Yeah, maybe. That might
So
be.
is she,
I know it's a big one, Pam.
is she gonna give us an engineered spec sheet? of what
Oh, everything will
material-
be
what
drawn out,
materials?
the
We
architect,
can see that,
yes.
okay, and then we'll know kind of what the clock tower is, so let's get that. See what that number figure, and then we get the clock tower, then we can decide on the clock tower. And then they can put it together for going out for bid. But I'd just like to see what they're using, what they're doing.
Did
just
you
to
hear that,
make sure-
Kelsey?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And how does that fit into the schedule?
Um, well, I mean, we have a progress set of drawings those were shared with Judy and Kristen. They're not 100% documents, just because I mean they were produced a while ago. But we do have kind of the baseline of the specifications that would be provided as well. So it's a full specification with bidding requirements on the front end, and then divisions 0001. I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail and bore you, but it'd be a full drawing and specification package that we'd be we'd be sending out. So you can certainly send over the progress prints as of right now. Um,
Let's see what you
and
got.
go from there. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just anything you shared, be nice to see it.
I believe I forwarded those on, but it was a while ago.
Oh, okay.
Look and make sure, because
Yeah, you might have. I don't.
I don't recall seeing it, but
Yeah.
And then Campbellsville, we had a gal come from Campbellsville who went up and looked at everything. So, yeah, she has that information.
The other thing, oh,
So I was
sorry.
just gonna ask, I doubt we know how long it would take for them if they took the roof, the clock tower off, sent it off to be fixed. How long does that whole process take? Is that a year? Is it, 6 months? Is
well,
it?
they have to have it done by December 31st. And what did they say? 8 months?
So they said 26 to 34 weeks was the range that they gave us for having the recladding done. Now, granted, you still have to get your contract in place. You have to get a crane out there to remove the panels, ship it to Kentucky, have the work done, get it back and install. And they noted that the takedown and the reinstallation, figure 1 or 2 days for putting it up and for taking it down. Which that part wasn't too bad, but the amount of time that it's at their manufacturing facility in Kentucky is a fair amount of time, and we plan on putting provisions in the specifications that it be reinstalled prior to Thanksgiving of 2026.
Yep.
And we'll
So the
do what we
lights are back
can.
up.
Yeah. But with that being said, we would want to get
Gotta
it
get
taken
going.
down as soon as possible, weather permitting, of course.
So we can't put it off too long. We're gonna have it back up by the parade, yeah, I know. When I first heard this, I went, no, 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 no. But if that's the only way to do it. So if you want to send that, Kelsey or Kristen, and we'll see what we can look at and put it on next week's agenda, if that's okay.
Yep.
Is that okay
Perfect.
with everybody?
Yep, that'd be fine.
Okay, okay. We'll put you on for next week, Kelsey, if that's okay.
Yeah, it should be. I do believe.
Okay.
I will check my calendar and I'll let you know if I have any major concerns.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. If
Thank
anything else
you.
comes up in the meantime, please let me know and I'll try to send an email out to your group. So
Okay,
Okay, thank
thanks
you.
so much.
thanks.
Okay. Okay, our next discussion is on the opioid settlement. We had one that was presented by Angela Gomez. Andrea. Here in a minute. Andrea Gomez from Wabansi about a proactive work, and I see that she presented to Montgomery County today. It's addressing the opioid addiction in the counties. And she presented to us in October, and I said I would bring it back up today. So they've been approved, Wabansi has been approved to provide level 1 outpatient services for juveniles and adults. And so it's more of a proactive thing than a reactive as far as treatment is concerned. And they're starting services in the Clarinda offices, and they're hoping to expand to Red Oak and Shenandoah offices. And they're tackling addiction through co-occurring treatment and to improve patient outcomes. It's the treatment of mental health and substance abuse treatment. And there's better treatment retention and people are more satisfied. It's also shown to be more cost effective because the people that need these services the most are the ones that usually end up hospitalized or in jail. So if you improve patient outcomes, you reduce costs. So the cost that she presented would cover the curriculum purchases, transportation for treatment, the funds for staff development and training, retention and supervision, expanding telehealth access and technology, social media campaigns and marketing. Anyway, so
What was that price or what
the
was
total price was 30,126. That would, and they would send monthly reports to track the utilization. There's the curriculum was 2,200, gas cards, workforce development and support. Expand telehealth and technology, marketing, social media campaigns. They would do screening, brief intervention. Clients that were uninsured and not Medicaid eligible, they were figuring it on that. Care coordination with the patients, family education, community outreach and education, engagement with prospective current and former clients. And that would be the grand total of 30,126.
It was a full year.
I believe so. Yes. Yes, for 12 months. I was at an interagency meeting today and we were talking about Zion. Zion still doesn't know what they're gonna do as far as they have to be out of the MHI the end of June
Yeah.
next year, and it sounds almost like it's gonna be moved to Atlantic, but
Yeah.
you probably know
I
more
think-
about that.
I
Yeah.
think they've been talking about.
Yeah, so there, we would be left with nothing, as far as
Yeah.
people that were here to work with these people.
Well, I was very impressed with her presentation when she did come. And
It's a sharp gal.
I think Bonsi has done a lot of good things. So, I mean, I would make the motion that we support that.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Great. I, yes,
okay.
whatever. I think, you know, with the changes in HHS, Wabansi is trying to, fill in some of the gaps, because I'm on that board also, and they're trying to fill in some of the gaps with, the things that have been taken away from people around, you know, in all of the counties. So I think this is one of the ways that we can do that, and we have money, so
Yeah.
I'm pleased that we can do that much for them. So, yes, we'll get moving on this, and I think probably get a contract in place. Okay, all right,
Just for outpatient treatment or inpatient treatment?
outpatient,
Just outpatient.
outpatient, yes, yes.
I know Cass County, their old, county farm.
Mhm. Yep, they're-
Leeds Island signed a contract with them to use that building.
Really? They didn't know today. Okay,
Yeah, they're working on something
okay.
with it. It needs some work, but yeah,
And evidently people are
they're,
kind of in an uproar about
yeah, we haven't had a meeting.
this kind of people and. you know,
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion.
yeah.
But sure, is if it's gonna be inpatient, rural Lonzie or whoever, or science is gonna be up there. Is that gonna guarantee us so many beds by supporting this, or is it just strictly outpatient?
I think it's gonna just be outpatient at this point, and it's just Page County that lives, you know, the people here, they're trying to work with the people, and cover people who are not eligible for insurance. different issues, so, I would say, why don't you talk to Andrea Gomez? She's at Wabansie, or I can put her in touch with you and you can visit with her.
I
Okay.
think that's great deal.
Yeah,
Especially if it is an inpatient type thing, and, you know, we can get a few beds for each cabin.
Right,
Keep us from driving to Cedar Rapids in the middle of the night.
sure.
yeah. We'll see where
You
it
know what the
goes.
hospital's doing with the so weren't they gonna use that for mental health too or something? Out here at Clarendon?
I don't know exactly what, if it's gonna be inpatient,
Yeah.
outpatient, anything like that.
I didn't know if they would have beds set up or anything like that,
That would
but
be very nice.
Not heard anything
yeah,
from them at all, so yeah,
The other night, we had a transport from here to Cedar Rapids.
it's a long way to go.
yes.
It is, okay. Okay. Now, our next discussion action is approving claims.
I'll make a motion to approve claims.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
And our, sure, approving of the minutes from last week. November 25th.
thank you.
Thank you. You sent these out, didn't you? Didn't you send them out? I thought you did too. I'm pretty sure. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the meeting minutes from November 25th?
I'll approve the minutes. Make a motion to approve the minutes as stated.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay. Board communication isn't on there, but does anyone have anything?
got a SWPCO meeting Thursday.
Landfill Thursday.
And I had an interagency today. Okay. Okay. Okay, our last item is to adjourn. I hear motion.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I.
Aye, motion to adjourn at 5:09.